By way of introduction, I'm Mona Margolis from Sag Harbor Florist, and I'm going to do a program tonight on Thanksgiving centerpieces, one in particular. It's a turkey centerpiece, and it's wonderful if there are a lot of children in the family and people who have a good sense of humor, and it's easy to make and it's a lot of fun. I'm going to turn it all around. This is the back, and here's a side view, and of course here's the front view. These last, some of my customers tell me, for almost a month, whether you want them to or not. All right. They're made primarily of chrysanthemums, a little row of mini carnations, and a bird of paradise. And of course the bird of paradise is the head to our turkey. This is finished off with a pair of eyes, which are simply pearl pins that are used for corsages, and a bit of felt ribbon for a turkey waddle. All right, I'll show you how to do it from start. All right. We're going to use a plastic pedestal container because it's inexpensive and it's nicely shaped. It's shaped to suggest the feet and tummy of a turkey. And what we use for the tail, I'm going to show you this prototype here, are the inflorescence of this quaking grass which grows all over this area, especially in swamps and low places. We are using 10 different stalks, and we're placing them toward the back of the chunk of oasis that goes into this plastic container. We're going to keep them in a stepping fashion, so we do the tallest one first. You can do this very simply, placing them in, bringing them right around. They don't have to be perfect. You'll see the way this is shaped here. You have a high point, low, and right down to the sides, so you don't have to come exactly flat like a real turkey tail. We're just doing a suggestion of a turkey, but by the time it's finished it'll look close enough to the real thing to give everyone a little charge for Thanksgiving Day. All right, we start with the tail, remembering to slope it back. And these inflorescences of these local grasses are wonderful because they move and they're soft and they're extremely animal-like. They're like a tail. Now the next thing we do is we insert a head. Here's one with the head. The bird of paradise goes straight in, and you'll see about an inch from the edge of the oasis it'll peek out as though it's looking for something. You want to have a little space between here and here because you're going to fill it in with chrysanthemums and you're going to round it out. This will give it a fullness and a little more realistic look. Before we do this, we'll start with the tail portion. Here's one. Here. Here's one that we've had in greens. And the tail feathers are always a little more curled and rumpled, so we're using a button mum. The button chrysanthemum gives illusion of the back part of the turkey, a little more realistic. Around the top of the tail, we're going to use a different color flower, and in this case we're going to use a red mini carnation because it'll match the red on the turkey waddle, and it shows up great because you're going to be using a lot of brown and tan and yellow and soft colors, so the red will spike it right up. You do these around in a perfect crescent arch, trying to keep them as close to each other as possible. You can fail a little bit in here by a ½ inch or an inch lower or higher depending on the cut of the flower. And after this, of course, you will add your brown chrysanthemums and finish it off. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to insert your yellow button mums. And as we get into the chrysanthemums themselves, I'll show you the different varieties and their properties. This is a yellow button pom-pom. Button palms, they're called in the trade. And these are wonderful because they will last a month very easily. They don't need a lot of water. They're very strong and they have nice stiff stems. These are a daisy chrysanthemum. You can tell because these are very fresh. They were just brought in today. They have nice green centers. When the chrysanthemums that are daisies are real fresh, you'll see the centers are nice and green, and that means this should last about 3 weeks if it's treated right. The water is changed and it's watered a lot itself. Then this is the most beautiful. These happen to be daisy double palms. They're double chrysanthemums and they're just gorgeous and fluffy and lush. These were grown on Long Island, and you can tell because the greens are wonderful and full. They look like nice fresh lettuce leaves. When you're buying chrysanthemums from a florist, you should always look at the leaves first, not just the flowers. The leaves tell you when those mums were picked. And if they were picked recently, they're nice and green and wonderful. So this is what we're going to be looking for. And this is what's going to make the front of our tukey look really beautiful. So we begin. This is the curve we're looking for. This wonderful brown curve that you'll really notice. All right, shall the class begin here? First we're going to try and do our turkey tails. I'm going to keep this example over here for you to look at so you can get an idea how this tail has to slant. All right, now this should be done with about 10 of these plumes, and you'll cut each plume. So you can come over here and get some of these, perhaps. Now, if you have any questions, please ask. Oh, please. All right, now about an inch back from the one long end of your oasis, you're going to start your very first insertion. Remember, you have about 2 or 3 inches here to play with. You can shove it down a little further. Remember, you start an inch forward from the end of your oasis.
This is the end.
No, this is the end here. You go right down. Okay, this is going to be our tallest point. Your turkey tail is monumental. This will be about a foot high here. All right.
You gotta put it in.
Yes.
Okay.
Right in.
Like that.
All right. There you go. That's very good. All right. Now we have this. So the next 2 will go out from the center, just a little bit shorter than the first tail. All right. So these can be cut, and it doesn't matter if you have a little bit of the grass in it. It looks a little more interesting, a little more natural. We'll go in right here. Here. The next 2 you can cut 2 by 1, a little far out. Remember to keep them in a row. This is going to be a flat tail. We're not going to move it forward or backward. It's going to be like a fan. Think of a fan when you do this. And keep them lined up like little soldiers, touching each one to another. And I'm going to come around. All right, some of these are starting very, very high.
To be shorter, they have to be shorter, right?
Yes, a little shorter. This turkey is very excited. He's wiggling his tail in every direction. All right. All right, here we go.
Okay.
And you have about 5 here, so we'll bring the rest right down here. So, all right, here we go. Very good. As we go through here, we're going to keep them right together, like little soldiers, remember? And we're not going to get them too tall. We have to keep it low, so we want to keep it in here very close, and we're going to go on a down. Now, towards the end of this tail, we're going to get a lot shorter. We're going to get about 8 inches high, so it comes down naturally as a fan would. They're not going to be coming in a crescent. All right, here we go. Well, we come right into the home right here. Okay, now we're going to keep some of these a little shorter. Doesn't matter if you do it once or twice. This is good oasis, and it will hold up to a lot of insertions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8. Remember, we have to be on one flat plane here. We're not going forward or backwards. And once we get this part of the arrangement done, it all comes around this. So once it's ripe, we're going to be okay. The huckleberry is going to be the background against which our flowers will rest. And this will come directly up to the back and the front of the tails of these turkeys. So here's a piece of huckleberry. Here is your flat plane. We're going to go right here and insert it down, so this will provide a little background for your red mini carnations. Now we're going to do this in the front and also in the back. As you see, it will provide a nice background to the button mums. Now we're keeping it much lower just to cover our empty spaces here. Maybe a few insertions. See how that covers? Fan. This is a very nice shape. I tried. Okay. You did very well.
More that way?
It's blotting out the sun.
Okay, so I can get people behind you there. That's good.
All right. Now we're going to try our greens, which will just go into the front of our tails like this. All right, and you will do this in the back also. This is perfect, Susan. This is very good. This is very nice.
Or nothing like that. I told you.
Yes, we're going to need about 3 or 4 good stalks of greens. Now this one here is very nice. This is going to go like so. And then we're going to bring a
enough for
few.
the front?
No, it's not. We have to go down to the sides. We're going to be placing the greens all around the bottom of this turkey, in the front and in the back. Very short pieces, tips. The tips of these huckleberry are found toward the base of each branch, and you'll find some very nice pieces. Some of these will be inserted upward. Now when these greens are inserted into the base of this design, you will go against your natural inclination to put them in right side up. Not all things grow right side up. In nature you see things falling over and spilling out. So put them in pointing upwards, in the front and in the back, and this will make it look nice and natural. Now we're going to insert the heads of our turkeys, which is of course the bird of paradise, and you will decide how long his neck is going to be. You can hold it up to the base of your container and guesstimate how far you're going to insert it into the oasis.
So it's in at an angle?
Yes. Well, no, there's a square that can, he's very long-necked.
Starting long in case
We're ruthless
I
here.
add too much.
The tail is usually taller than the head.
Right.
Now, looking very closely, this is a bird of paradise. This has just been put into water today, and it's opened up to where we call, in floral trade, the first bird. If we put our finger inside of it like this, we will be able to pull out another blossom. This is called the second bird. And it has, when you get the little husk off, a little blue petal. Hasn't quite turned blue yet, but it will. And it makes it look a lot more full. Here it is. Right here. It's still a little white, but it's just turning blue. Now this looks a lot more interesting, doesn't it? Much more of it is showing. This is what we do when we do a design and we want to see a lot more orange. The little shock of blue that seems to be the center of the flower. All right. Now we're ready for our button mums, which are located right in back of Susan. You'll give everyone a bunch of those. We will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 insertions from this one stem of button palms. These different insertions are going to enable us to make a rounded shape to the back of our turkey. And this shape is going to make it look a little more real. So we're going to start tall, and we're going to work down to the short. As you see, your tall flowers will be inserted first. Right here. This has been greened up. All right, here we go. The tallest flower will be a little under a foot, at least about 8 inches estimated, and then we'll insert it in. remembering that the higher this goes, the more buttons we're going to have to insert. So we're going to keep it down to about this tall. When it's finally inserted, we'll have about 6 or 7 inches showing. Okay, we're going to do a fan shape, a rough fan shape, as we did with our plumes. We're just going to follow the shape of our original insertion of our grass inflorescences. Here we go. When we find that we have a very short one, we can put it in here so as not to waste it. All right. Every little bud is used, so you see the little buds are put in and made to look very tall. And you find you have these little grass stems, leave them. It looks wonderful, a little more natural. Remember to take all these little flowers off the individual stems of button chrysanthemums, and you'll find that your arrangement will look a lot more interesting when you use all the buds too. All right, when you have 2 left like this, you'll separate them. You'll make 2 insertions out of this. You find you have short ones that are 4 or 3 inches. Well, this will be the length that you'll use right down at the edge of your fan. So there's really no waste at all in this. And it's very easy. Follow your shapes around. Don't make your fan too large, or you'll wind up having to insert flower after flower after flower. You'll run out of flowers and wonder, what did I do? Now make sure your buds are kept right, this is really good, right close and flat in, because we're going to make you don't have to come out very far. This is a very close together thing.
Oh, close.
Really, you're making an animal here. And we're going to try and make him look like his feathers. Feathers are close together. So we put them in. Now each of these is going to look a little different. No 2 will ever look alike. But they're all going to look like a turkey. Or else.
Hopefully.
The tall ones, and you can keep everything together. And you can even go right through. Yeah. Keep it very close. That's the trick to making it look a little more real. And bringing the fan shape around. First do the top of the fan, then come down and do the sides of the fan. Yes, right there. Now, we should come out to the side a little more too. This is pretty good, Susan, but we're a little wild on the sides. All right, yeah. Keep our spaces filled. This is good shape. Oops, too long here. I mean, no, fill in all of these. Okay. All right. Now. Okay, we're all doing pretty well here. There. Now, once or twice. We're going to have to keep trying till they go in. This gets very thick towards the end because these are very woody stems of the greens that you're working with. And, hello.
Loose them all up.
Okay. Wild turkeys now. These tapped in all the park environs. So we have to get used to the year of the turkey here. Right? All right, the front is a little easier than the back. We've now completed the back of our bird, and we're going to start with a row of red mini carnations around the top. This is going to be a definition of our top feathers. A little hint of a peacock here. So, what we're going to do is, we are going to use these, and I'll do one for you. I think I have one right here. I can start this. Now, we remember our greens have come right to the bottom of our grass blossoms. We're going to take some stems of mini carnations. These are exceptionally nice ones because they have a lot of long branches. We're going to use one of the longest tips. We're going to make that the high point. Again, we're going to do a fan shape. We're going to come down a little further so we'll see the tips of the greens behind the red minis. And we're going to work out to each side. Again, our buds can go down toward the bottom in a fan shape. And here we go. We'll take one of these stems and we're going to break each piece off and use it separately, leaving our main stalk nice and long. All right? This piece here can go right in the back because it's nice and long. And we use all the pieces that were removed further in our little crescent. Okay, here we go. Is that too awkward for you? Now, I'm going to go right down. We use the shorter pieces right down toward the bottom of the turkey. Don't mind if they droop down a bit because the turkey tail is going to roll right over his tummy. We deal in fat turkeys here. We don't want any ones that aren't. All right. Now we keep them again on a very flat plane. We don't want too many of them going forward. These are kissing right up against our huckleberry greens, which are again right up against our flat plumes of grass, which we use for the tail. And this is going to really define our shape and make a really nice bit of color in the arrangement. These are looking pretty good. Okay, I'm going to move around and help you a little bit with these now.
If you have like two or so together.
Yes, but make sure they shape in the same direction. Don't make them too tall. Remember, this is betweens.
That was the tallest one.
That's good. So maybe use our shorter blossoms right down to the bottom. These are coming along very nicely. All right. Okay. There. All right. She sighs. All right. Now. Moving right along. We're going to break that. All right, we don't want them too tall because then everything else is going to be. We're going to start from there and fan them right down to the edge. Down to there like so. I'll give you a nice side shoot here. These mini carnations have a nice longevity. They'll last and last and last. Okay, this is nice, but you're a little too tall here. We're going to move it right down. We're going to break the sides off. It has to be a flat shape. It's difficult because it's against everything else we've done before, where we move our shapes around. But we're going to keep it really flat because we want it to look like a bird. Right, here we go. Very nice. Good shape. Ooh, this is good. A little tall. All right. Good. A little taller in here. Now we're going to use a tan colored chrysanthemum to give us the illusion of the belly of the turkey. And we're going to use a whole bunch. And some of us will use different colors. This is not written in stone that you have to use yellow for the back. Some people use a dark mum for this entire bird. However, I think that the yellow and the red make it a lot more interesting. All right, here. This is going to be the insertions that we will put in the front. Anyone want to use a gold color for the front too? It's nice. These are nice double chrysanthemums.
What do you think?
And they have lots of stems on them. All right.
Yeah, this is more reddish.
Well, they're all going to be a little different. So we're going to take our beautiful double daisy palms, not daisy palms, but double chrysanthemums, and we're going to insert them around the bottom of the tummy first. We'll take these low side shoots, and we're going to use each of these stems separately again. See, this stem has 1, 2, 3, 5 flowers on it. So we'll clip each one off. Each one is a different length, and each one will be used at a different height in this design. So our shortest one can be placed low to the bottom of the body, way in. So you'll get a natural curve. And this curve will come right up and right at the bottom of the calyx of these mini carnations. That's where these taller chrysanthemums are going to come in handy. All right, now I'm going to insert a few at random heights. No two have to be exactly alike, but keep them low at first, and then we'll work on up. Remembering to reserve those long tips for a little higher up in the body a little bit later. All right. down low. And then as we have some of these, we'll work up a little higher. Some of these are wonderful stems. Now here's a perfect one for the top of our crescent, our fan shape that we're still continuing. This is going to go right in here, right in the bottom. Now if this were very high, it would be very difficult to get the shape. So we're going to keep it right at the bottom of the calyx of our minis. That's why we didn't want to insert them too tall. All right, here we go. And we'll define our shape again, but now we're not only making a flat crescent, but we're coming forward. And we're going to come forward in a fashion that gives us a fullness to the chest of this bird. All right, here. We don't want these stems very long. If the stems are long, we'll go back to the back of the shape here. And here you see, again, our finished product, how it's curved up. Curved up around the bottom of the bowl, up to the shoulder of the bird, and up to the top. Right here, so we can just see the calyx of our mini carnations. Sideways, so you can see it. So there's just a slight hint of the chest here. Fan shape that should have been back here. Okay, a little closer. Out of mums. I think we have a little here. We have one more. Oh, goody. Okay, let's see here. All right, our greens are going to come in here and give us a little more shape to our fan and add a little bit into these corners. Okay, very good. Now you are ready for your eyes. The eyes on this turkey are going to consist of 2 pearl-headed pins that have been clipped with a wire cutter. I'm going to go right back to the eye shape. Insert them so. And voila, there we are. And his wattle, just a hint of a wattle, is going to be inserted with 2 other pins. Like so. Just a half circle really. Roughly shaped. Here and here. So we have that. There, fix up the red. Very good. Right there, poke them backwards, not straight in. You may meet yourself on the other side. There you are, perfect. Looks very nice. All right, you're ready to get your eyes neck, aren't you? All right, neck, get in here a little longer. Is that better?
It's really nice.
All right. Now, we're going to clean up the table. We'll put our turkeys up on the pedestal and we'll see how they all compare.
All the turkeys.
Yeah, which one's the turkey, right?
All ready for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why don't we sing a song about Thanksgiving? You know. Anybody know any songs about Thanksgiving?
Over the river and through the
That's wonderful. Barbara, would you lead us off?
Seriously, it would be very good. It would be very helpful for us.
The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh through the white and drifting snow. Over the river and through the woods. Around the hills and stings the nose and bites the toes as over the meads we go.
All right, here's the finished product. Everyone is done. We have our front and back. This turkey is looking up really proud. Very, very proud and aristocratic, obviously. This one here. Very interested in his neighbors. He's ready to talk. He has something to say and he's leaning his head just a little bit to the right. He's thinking while he's speaking. You can tell he thinks out everything before he says it.
More than gobble gobble, hush out.
This one here just stepped out of the shower and he's fluffing his hair around. It's a little off to the right, a little off to the left. And this one here, this beautifully shaped one here.
Very inquisitive.
Yes, I think he's looking for something to eat. Perhaps Thanksgiving dinner is not far away. This little
Very
turkey
private.
has a
This is
short
a very
neck and
private.
tight shoulders. He's a little into the stress of everyday living and holiday time.
But this is
Just a
a
therapy for that one?
A therapy would be a good drink before Thanksgiving dinner. How about that?
This is the eager one.
This one is very eager. He's going out. He looks like he's looking and about to run. For a very good reason, too. Right. He knows it's Thanksgiving Day in advance of the round. They're wonderful, and they each look a little bit different. No two are ever alike. And the colors are nice. Enjoy.
You're really saying
Thank you.